Iowa in the United States is remembering the visit 50 years ago of Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev. Meeting American farmers inspired Khrushchev to begin a massive corn planting throughout the USSR. Now, artist Sean Thomas is experiencing a Russian cornfield there. Well, looking great there, Sean. So what was so special about Khrushchev's visit to Iowa?
Well, Olga, first of all, it was the first trip of any USSR head of state to the United States. He was invited to the United States by President Eisenhower at the time, and it was historic in of itself. Of the 13-day visit, 2 of the days were spent in Iowa, and this was at Khrushchev's request. In fact, he had met a gentleman by the name of Roswell Garst in 1955 when Garst was in Russia, actually, to talk about corn. Of all things. He was part of a 12-person delegation that was brought to the country to talk about agriculture and about mechanization and about different techniques that could help the Soviet Union move forward in the areas of agriculture. So when Khrushchev went to the United States, he specifically wanted to make sure that he had some time to spend on Garst's farm and see the operation for himself. So this was actually a passion of his. When he went to Iowa, they weren't exactly used to hosting a foreign head of state, let alone someone from the USSR in the height of the Cold War. So it was a very big deal for this small rural community to host such a powerhouse in the international community. When he arrived, he saw the corn operation, saw the farms that Garst had to offer, plus some of the equipment and the technology that they had to offer that he could possibly bring back to the States. But they also hosted a party showing the benefits of corn with a menu entirely of corn. And so it was a unique, interesting experience on an international scale, basically to try and bring the USSR forward in the world of agriculture.
So what were the consequences of the Iowa visit?
Well, unfortunately, it wasn't as successful as Khrushchev had hoped. In fact, what happened was he was very passionate about corn. He was very passionate about agriculture, even before he was a head of state, even before he was part of the decision-making process here in the Soviet Union. So when he went to the United States, he brought back this technology, and he came back to the USSR and implemented widespread planting of corn. In fact, he ordered all over the Soviet Union corn to be planted. In fact, in some cases, pulling up some of the crops that existed, like potatoes and some of the more familiar crops that the Russian farmers knew how to plant. But unfortunately, because the weather here in Russia and the former Soviet Union is not ideally suited for corn, the program was pretty much a failure. And unfortunately, this is one of Khrushchev's legacies.
And what does the visit to a farming country say about Khrushchev's personality?
Well, it says a couple things. First of all, not only was he a powerful leader, obviously he's known for many things. One of them, banging the shoe at the UN desk, whether it happened or didn't happen. It is an image that is associated with this powerful leader of the Soviet Union. But it also says that he was a real person, that he could connect on a real level, that he had roots, that he was passionate about agriculture, he liked farm equipment, he liked the regular people, and he could connect on that level. And it says a lot about the person who wanted to do something to feed the people of Russia with something that he was passionate about. Now, another thing is that it also talks a little bit about his sense of humor in terms of he developed a really strong relationship, a friendship with Roswell Garst, and that friendship is based on one conversation they had at the very beginning when Roswell Garst asked Khrushchev, he said, "Why are you coming to me for our agriculture and our secrets about corn? It only took you 3 weeks to obtain the secrets to the atomic bomb." And Khrushchev looked at him and smiled and laughed and said, "You were wrong. It only took us 2 weeks." So they had a sense of humor. They developed a bond. But really it says that he was a real person who cared about his people and tried to do something about it and feed them on a grand scale. Unfortunately, it wasn't very successful.
Well, thank you very much, Sean, for that update. That was Sean Thomas reporting from a cornfield outside Moscow.